From Philadelphia, you're watching the American Conference on ESPN. We're nestled inside McGonigal Hall, where two NCAA tournament teams from last year square off as the USF Bulls take on the Temple Owls. Welcome courtside with former Marist standout Julianne Vianney. I'm Dave Leno. What have you made of the start of conference play for both schools?
Well, it's early, but South Florida has played one of the toughest schedules in the conference, maybe even the country, and they've come away with some nice wins. They've got 4 returning starters. That's 89% of their scoring, playing a depleted Temple team that struggled with injuries, but coming off a nice win against SMU.
These two teams are spearheaded by some of the top scorers of the American, led by Temple's Tanae Atkinson, who's cashed in 10 double-doubles.
Well, she's flat out just balling this season. She's blossomed in her senior year, leads the conference in rebounding, and needs to set the tone on both ends of the floor for this group. A lot's been asked of her, and she's answered the call really well. And we go over to the other side, and Jespersen and Laksa, that dynamic duo. Jespersen was most improved player of the year last season. She's gotten even better, creates off the bounce and gets to the glass. And Laksa is capable of 30 to 40-point performances on any given night. Just a true scorer.
As we dive into the Americans' leading scorers, Colby Morgan is having a marvelous season for Tulane, but the 3 players we just featured are also in the top 10.
And interesting, all the players mentioned are ahead of UConn's leaders, but UConn is just so complete that they don't need one player to score. But yeah, we see Atkinson, Laksa, and Jespersen in this category of really good players and scorers.
The Bulls are led by Jose Fernandez, who has guided the program to 5 straight 20-win seasons. Is the all-time winningest coach at USF on the men or women's side, and has taken them to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. On the opposite bench, Temple's Tanya Cardoza was recently rewarded with a contract extension through the 2021-22 season. Without all-conference guard Aaliyah Butts and others due to injury, she's had to make some adjustments with her personnel, but her squad remains a force on the glass and continues to excel in the transition game. USF controls of the road green uniforms with Flores running the point. We're underway tonight in Philly. It's an early Lotska 3, and she delivers.
And that's exactly what Tanya Cardoza told us before the game, that they'd have to defend the 3-point arc, because this is a team similar to Villanova. They're going to shoot as many threes as they get.
The officials tonight, Joe Vasili, Shannon Feck, and Jeffrey Smith. Keep an eye on Lotska as well. She came down awkwardly there on that shot.
I saw that, and she's still continuing to limp a little bit down the floor. But a nice early start for her. She hasn't been able to get going the last couple of games.
The USF lineup features Flores running the point, who leads the American in assists, and the rating freshman of the year, Henshaw, as well. She's a player that can run the floor.
Henshaw is one of those players that's just a tremendous sophomore. She had a really great freshman year, but she's going to be even better this season. And then on the other side, we see Temple's starters. And again, we mentioned in the open, they're a little bit hurt right now.
Lotska will go 1 of 2, and here comes Atkinson. Aaliyah Butts done for the year with that torn ACL as Perry was driving in. Also, Desiree Oliver hasn't played since the Harvard game. And Shannon Atkinson has also been ailing with an injury.
And that's a problem. I mean, especially not having Aaliyah Butts. Aaliyah Butts is the big player out for the year with the ACL. They expected to have her back. She was their best player by far last year. And so they've had to do it by committee, counting on Atkinson and Berger.
Here's Henshaw on the post. Jespersen frees up Ferreira from 3. Atkinson trying to get the miss. Instead, here comes Amani Mayo.
And now Temple's going to want to run the tempo here, Dave. They're going to try to look to push the basketball.
Else coming off of a 3-point win over SMU as Perry was way off. That's a player that Tanya Cardoza talked to us pregame really has to turn it on. And obviously they're trying to do this without Aaliyah Butts, their all-conference guard.
She's got to turn it on because a player like Butts is out. And not only does Butts bring that energy that you love at the point, but she's a leader and a terrific scorer and passer that they're going to be excited to get back next year.
Jespersen trying to take Perry to the rack, and she walked. We'll go the opposite way to Temple. Jespersen, though, Julianne, has been fantastic for Jose Fernandez, especially when Lotska's been struggling for the field in recent games. Jespersen's been picking it up.
And I remember specifically when she was a sophomore, Jose telling me that something triggered in her in that Harvard game that season. And since then, she has been phenomenal. Last year, this year, she's carried it over. She can shoot. She's better at getting to the basket.
Atkinson counted out a foul.
And actually, Atkinson here is so good at getting to the hole. She draws two players, and it was a little bit too late of a rotation for South Florida, and she was already there at the rim, and that's what she does well. And she certainly is a player that gets to the free throw line, second in the nation in free throw attempts. So that means she gets to the rim, Dave, which is pivotal.
She cramped at the latter stage of the fourth quarter against SMU. But we're total 100% ready to go tonight. Started off the year with 4 consecutive double-doubles. Jespersen with a pull-up.
It's going to be difficult to stop them from the perimeter. You just got to hope they miss, but you've got to play them for those shots, not allow threes. I think that's the key for Tanya's team.
They did an excellent job defending the three ball this year, hitting opponents below 28%. But a tough task for Temple.
They're going to try to crowd them as much as possible because, like she said to us, it's kind of like playing Villanova. It's a Big 5 team. They're used to playing them. All they do is shoot threes, too.
Henshaw will take Perry. She's the reigning freshman of the year in the American Conference.
Just a blue-collar athlete. One of those hard-working, nitty-gritty players.
Haven't called Mia Davis's number too much yet. There she is with the ball here, 25. She's that second option for Temple, but another turnover here on the outs.
That's the key. You don't want to turn it over against South Florida because typically they will make you look silly on the other end and capitalize off of those turnovers.
And speaking with Tanya Cardoza, she told us that she didn't deal with any of the injuries that she's experienced this year in her whole career at Temple.
Right, and that's 10 years. She's in her 10th year, and she's never had it. And she's never played this many freshmen getting big minutes.
Second turnover on South Florida.
One positive to that, Dave, is next year she'll have a group of freshmen that are going to have experience. And Jose Fernandez last year lost a whole slew of excellent seniors, so they weren't expected to really be as good last year. This year they brought them all back, so it's kind of like a flip-flop. There's more pressure on them this year because of all their seniors back.
Perry for three. She really needs to get going because she's coming off of a subpar performance, 6 turnovers the last outing against SMU. Bulls are coming off a 51-point loss to number 1 UConn, but prior to that, did defeat Cincinnati and Tulane. We're geared up and ready to go following that UConn defeat. Had their largest crowd at the Sun Dome, nearing 7,000 in the stands, and a beautiful drive in there by Laura Ferreira.
Last year, Ferreira was out with plantar fasciitis, which was a painful thing for her. She is such a good point guard, and so good to see her back on the floor.
Turnover caused by Flores. She'll get it back and spots up for 3. Lotska trying to get the miss. It will go back to the Owls thanks to the hustle by that player right there, Tanea Atkinson. And a daunting task for her this season because a lot's levied on her shoulders without Butts out. She's the floor general and sets the tone on both sides of the floor.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. I mean, so much pressure on her to bring the toughness every day. She's answered the call beautifully, but if she's for some reason out or injured or in foul trouble, they're in trouble because she really does do it all.
Play halted here with 5:28 to go. Both teams called to the benches. The officials were conferring there, and then South Florida is going to come out onto the floor. They're going to bring in Alyssa Rader as their first substitution. It appears that Henshaw was bleeding, so she had to come out. And Rader is now in for USF. Here's Berger. Deja Reynolds also checking in at the top of your screen, wearing number 23 of the white uniforms. Reynolds with it here, the extra pass. Berger for 3. And the long board to Flores. One of the best passers in the American Conference in Flores. Jespersen with the right hand. Fresh 30 here for the Bulls.
That's a good hustle, getting that second chance opportunity. You've got to put a body on Jespersen.
Jesperson double. Ferreira running baseline past Mayo with a left hand. Rayner trying to get the miss instead of pinballs to Berger. Berger sees the seam and with the right hand scores.
That's a nice job. And Berger jammed her finger, missed the past couple of games. Doesn't look like she's struggling with her handle or shot with that one, but they need her to be 100%.
Coming off a career-high 8 assists in the SMU game. Ferreira with the left hand. A lot of patience by both teams in the half court.
Absolutely. Not a lot of running, which I kind of expected the opposite, to be honest. These two teams like to run, and it's been a half-court game.
So we'll stay with Semple here as we reach a timeout with USF leading by 1 over the Alps.
Well, this is a close one, and both teams going back and forth, and Khadijah Berger to the basket with a strong finish, and then at the other end, South Florida doing the same thing, giving them a little taste of their own medicine with the dribble drive. And this one is tight early.